Do not be burdened with the pressures of society to give into pagan worship. I speak, of course, of the devotion of one's life to the false deity named Career. Career, like the rest of Americans' pantheon of false gods, is a made-up deity to escape the fear that since we have chosen not to live for God, our lives have become meaningless. And so instead of serving the just God, you are pressured into offering sacrifices to a fake one. So in today's video, I want to talk about something that I believe is affecting a lot of us. In our society, we're constantly bombarded with the idea that our worth is measured by our title, our salary, and our success in the workplace. But I want to change that notion and encourage you to consider a different perspective. See, we're not so different from the ancient pagan cultures of Rome or of Greece. We too have our own pantheon of false gods, including the god of career, personal pleasure, and convenience. And these gods demand sacrifices from us, including the sacrifice of our own children's lives. I know it sounds dramatic, but just hear me out. Let's start with the first god, career. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that success in our careers is the key to happiness and fulfillment. We seek wealth and riches, hoping that it will heal the wounds of our past and provide us with a sense of purpose. But the truth is, wealth is like vapor. It may seem important, but compared to something actually good, it is nothing. American men, I want to challenge you to consider this. Your salaries do not satisfy you, not because they are not enough, but because they never will be. How can you say that your life's work was to build the dreams of a man that you do not care about, only in exchange for food and housing? Your life is worth so much more than that. What if you gave it for something worth dying for? Would you die for your employer? No, that's a ridiculous question. So why are you living for them, giving them your life's work? You see, when you devote your life to the false deity of career, you are selling yourself into servitude. You may have a bigger house, but you're not happy or fulfilled if you're not responding to a call to greatness. Doing anything other than the will of God for your life will bore you. We need to be delivered from this false worship of career and return to the proper order of work. Like Moses freeing the Israelites from the servitude under Egypt, so too can Jesus' call free us from the socially imposed servitude to the economy of America. Let's talk about the second god. Convenience promises fulfillment by tempting us into a carefree life, but it doesn't tell us that we were made to serve one another. So when we're removed from this duty, we find our lives meaningless. Living to avoid work is agonizing, and in doing so, you end up working much harder to avoid the work, and your day is ended with no fruits of your labor. Then there's the god of pleasure. This god demands that we constantly seek comfort, and it traps us into this cycle that always keeps us asking for more. Begin to plead with the whole pantheon, career, pleasure, and convenience, looking for something that will fill us if we devote our lives to it. But they never will. These gods take everything from us, and they leave us with nothing. They give us nothing in return. And when we realize that giving our whole lives to these false gods does not satisfy them, and we have not been rewarded with peace for our sacrifice, we begin to sacrifice the lives of others. We sacrifice our own children to the god of career, convenience, and pleasure in hopes of finding fulfillment, but we never do. The most obvious place where child sacrifice occurs in our society is under the guise of choice. But the most prevalent case of child sacrifice actually exists in emotional neglect. When we decide that our kids' well-being is worth giving up for the sake of our career, or for the sake of our convenience, or even for the sake of our pleasure. When a husband goes out on his wife, he doesn't only betray the woman that he chose to live his life for, he betrays the children that are a living testament of the love shared between the man and the woman. And so his children now have the neglect of a loving father because he chose to sacrifice their well-being for the sake of his personal pleasure. The reason I'm even talking about this isn't to condemn America, but to invite you to consider a better path. A path that leaves all of the people in your lives better off because you were there. A path that leaves you fulfilled. A path that invites you to greatness. My message to you today is to break the chains of the American pantheon of false gods. Do not let the pressure of society and culture dictate your life's purpose and meaning. Turn to the true God, who offers you abundant joy and fulfillment. You were made for greatness, and only by living according to God's will for your life will you truly achieve it. So I urge you to reject the false worship of career. Return to the proper order of work, where you serve others and fulfill your God-given purpose. Only then can you break free from the slavery to these American pagan gods and live a truly fulfilling life. Thanks for watching today. I hope it inspired you to think a little bit differently. I'll see you in the next video.